Okay, this is Cthulhu Dark, the Secret of Castronegro 2024 edition, part three of three. And we're currently missing Rob, who will be along shortly, and we'll get Rob caught up when that happens. But for now, let's pick up with where we were. So, Pontius Whitehall, you had you had pressed James Ruckus Whitlock into service to create a distraction for you, and he did. And but the distraction was interesting because no one came out to see what the distraction was except for Juan Herrera. and but there's a reason for that, right? Because a lot of people have gathered and are walking toward the south, right? And that's where Rob's character is currently headed. But what I think that means, though, is you kind of are able to move around the town pretty easily and safely. I will tell you that the tobacco shop does not have a back door, but there's no one around on the streets. So if you wanted to go through the front, you certainly could. What do you do?
Like after seeing all of that and there's nobody around, Pontius is like, well, no need to break a window.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna walk up on the porch and try the door and see if it's locked or not.
I think as you walk up to the porch, you're going to notice something in the window. Three little strange jade statues. These little jade statues look like they basically look like a toad and a rat in in coitus, in encircling each other, either fighting, tearing each other apart, or fucking. It's a little unclear. But there's three of these little jade statues in the window, and there's Rob. And there's literally nothing else in the window. There are no cigarettes, there are no cigars, there's no signage. Getting inside this tobacco shop is no trouble. What do you do then?
I'm looking for a hatch. The tomb had one, and so it's like Pontius is like, wow, we a hatch. This is like I'm looking for any sign of Joaquin. I think even Pontius is like kind of like quietly like Joaquin.
Let's paint the scene, everyone. This tobacco shop, apart from the window that I've just described, what else around here tells us that this is just a front? This is not a real business.
The shelves are painted in a way where while there are a couple of boxes of tobacco product on the front, the shelves have been painted in a way to make it look like there's more product than there really is.
I think the prices are like super outdated. They're the prices that things that tobacco would have cost in like 1840 or
Yeah, the
something.
19th century. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think like tying into that, there's like these signs that say like new and improved, but there's just like a cake of dust over everything.
There is, if it's not uh, disruptive to what you already have planned, Jason, there is like a storage room door that has a window in it. So you can kind of see through it and you can see that that space is actually much larger than the storefront.
It works perfectly with what I had in mind. Thank you.
Beautiful.
You're noticing all that, Pontius, but you don't get too far because you hear the distinct of a shotgun being, I don't know what you do to a shotgun, cocked, I guess, or I don't know, but prepared to fire. and and you see in this sort of dim light, there's like a little bit of moonlight coming in, and so the light's quite dim, but you can see two big, vivid green eyes approaching from the back, from the darkness. And the man there, very tall, kind of like Filippo Diaz, is holding this shotgun. Now, this person doesn't look as affected as Filippo Diaz. He's just wearing a flannel shirt and jeans, but he has the same pale look. He has the same lanky black hair, obviously the green eyes. And he says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?"
I see the striking resemblance that you share with Joaquin. The name's
My
Pontius.
nephew?
The name is Pontius. I am Pontius Whitehall. I'm from Silver City. You must be Philip, your nephew. I heard tell that you stopped by and picked up Joaquin's belongings.
Might have done. What's your connection to my nephew?
Your nephew and I had a bit of a business deal back in the past. Things soured, but not enough for it to cause any strife. Then Joaquin disappeared, and I felt all kinds of torn up about it. So I wanted to check in on him, and apparently he skipped town.
Joaquin's
I've been trying to
gone.
track him.
Joaquin's gone. He ran off to California. He's not coming back. So why don't you go follow him to California?
See, that's the issue that I'm having here, Philip. Is I've been trying to find Joaquin because I heard that, well, his folks, you all, are up in these parts, and you're saying that he ran off to California, but I heard tell that he ran off to Albuquerque. Now,
Well, you heard tell wrong. Now get out of my shop.
Philip,
He raises the
It's big-
shotgun.
I've seen him.
Seen who?
Joaquin. He's scared.
Where?
The first time I caught him lurking around the streets, maybe, and then I saw him in the tomb. He was in the back of it. He was making all sorts of awful noises, and I thought I could help him. I didn't
You
realize it was
hear
him until
from the back a sound. Multiple voices. Philip says, "I think it's time for you to go."
Pontius is going to try to do I'm looking behind you because something has caught my attention and I'm shocked, like there's something horrific behind you, in hopes that it'll break his concentration enough to grab the shotgun and try to like fight over it.
We'll come back to this. Irene, you were the one who stepped into the tomb or into the vault. Let's be clear, not the book, not the shop. You stepped into this vault. You see all the sarcophagi. You heard this heavy, wet thumping or slapping sound, and then you heard this voice that cried out. It's Puddock, is what it says, but it says it in its own guttural voice. Puddock, Puddock. That alone, I want an insight roll. I'll grab the die roller from yesterday if anybody doesn't have it yet.
I do have it open, so I will throw that right in. Oh. Why do I roll like this?
Ah, you got
Six.
So what is your... You're going up to 5?
5, yeah.
You are also now entitled to suppress mythos knowledge. So anytime you and also now, anytime you and Charlie want to destroy something, destroy evidence of what's going on here, you get to try to lower your insight. But for now, how do you react to this? What's going on? You are on the very precipice of falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if I had my wits about me, I would back out of this. But given Irene's obsession with the mouth being a portal to the unknown and all of that kind of thing, I think I'm just like drawn to it, almost like hypnotically of like, what is this sound and what does it mean? And the way that I can find out what it means is to see where it's coming from.
I would like to suggest, Charlie, that to you, because you're standing just outside the vault, you might just hear some noise, but it doesn't have any meaning yet. You do, however, see that Irene is going deeper into the vault. What do you do?
Can I? Something I'm realizing I did not do last session that I would love to do if possible is take a quick glance around for footprints.
Ah, very good indeed. Yes. I would like to suggest you have seen those crossed shaped footprints
Mm-hmm.
leading from the vault to the direction of Casa de Diaz.
Got it. Um, in which case, uh, I would like to scuff those footprints away and try to suppress mythos if that's okay.
Love it. That's perfect.
Okay.
Let's read the rule here. Roll your insight die and reduce your insight by 1 if you roll lower.
Okay.
Let's see what you got.
It's a 3.
All right, so your insight goes down to 4. You can keep doing this, by the way, if you do something
Yes.
different. What do you do then? Do you just like leave Irene to it, or do you run away, or what?
I think I'm going to try to I try to grab like catch Irene's hand or arm or something to kind of pull her back a little bit and say, um, because I haven't heard this noise and or at least not as distinctly, and say, I think whatever was here has already left.
Irene, you're being pulled back. What do you do?
Um, I Yeah, I mean, I think the way the character is driving here is to just kind of like not even register what Charlie is saying.
Interesting. So you're just going to pull away and go continue going deeper.
Yeah, I don't think it would be like too hard of a pull, so I think it kind
Yeah.
of like it's up to Charlie on how forceful.
You can roll against each other if you want. You have the ability. You can roll
I don't
against
think
each
I would
other.
fight if it is that firm of a
Yeah.
pulling of like as opposed to like right now it sounds like hey hey come
Yeah,
on like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
sort of like
yeah.
ushering and I think she would move beyond that. But if it's like a no really,
Assertive.
I
Yeah.
think it would break the trance, so to speak.
Well, so Charlie, what do you do?
Yeah, I think the first pull is gentle. I think there's a second attempt to break the trance as you're pulling further away. Charlie maybe even like steps directly in front of you and is like, "Listen to me." Like, I don't think there's anything in here.
There's definitely something in here.
Whatever it is, it's coming up from what is now behind Charlie. Charlie can't see it. You can see it, Irene.
Oh no.
It hops into the light, the dim light coming in from the open door. It is a large toad-like creature about the size of like a big ottoman. And it opens its froggy mouth, and then you hear like a wet sort of as it peels its lips back and reveals sharp teeth. Make another insight roll. This could be it for you. It is. Irene, you get to keep playing for a little bit, but you are going to shatter. What do you do?
Um so what I was planning on doing is probably just as risky of going to like I've heard this thing saying this word, and so the what I had been leaning into was I'm going to try and suppress. That's not what mechanically is happening here anymore, but I'm going to try and suppress knowledge by pulling its teeth out. So I'm pulling out my dentistry tools and I am going up and I am just going to like try
So
and like yank
per
the teeth
per
out
the
of this
rules
thing.
of Cthulhu Dark, if you ever
Yeah.
do anything like this, you die. So you can't. It's like it's like Trophy Dark. You can't fight the monsters or anything.
Um,
All you can do
so
is run away
maybe
from them.
maybe what it is it's just like this like obsession now of like I need to remove the teeth from this thing. And so Charlie does like wrestle me back, but like that's my like
I would like to suggest, Charlie, that you are in grave danger, either
Yeah.
from Irene or this creature. I don't think you've seen the creature yet, Charlie. I'm not letting you glimpse it yet. As long as you keep pushing Irene out of there, you're good. I'm gonna check
I
in on.
think.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, yeah, continue. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say I do think that yeah, Charlie is still pretty hell bent on trying to get Irene out of there.
Mhm.
Um, but maybe would give up if it seems like Irene is holding fast and would just be like, fine, check this place out. I'm going to the mansion.
We'll see how this resolves in a moment.
Yeah.
Emmett Van Poole. You can watch the barn for a time, Emmett,
Mm.
and eventually you'll see that all the people that went into the barn, who were dressed in their street clothes, they come out of the barn dressed in long black robes with cowls over their heads. And they make a line and they're heading somewhere. They're, I would say their general direction is continuing to go south, but they're leaving the barn with intention, going somewhere else, a little further away. What do you do?
I think Emmett is fascinated by this, whatever this is. He stumbled on this religious observance.
Hmm.
He's going to try and follow them and see where they're going.
As
Try
you
and stay concealed and yeah.
as you approach the barn, what sounded like the whistling of the wind at night is actually the whistling of a flute. A flute is being played from inside the barn. The flute player is in the barn. You can hear it. It's a strange, discordant melody, I would say. It doesn't seem to have a lot of structure to it, but you've heard a flute before. It's clearly a flute or possibly a pan flute. What do you do?
I think I'd like to try and creep closer to the barn and see if I can, see through a crack between boards or anything like that and
Make
see
a
what
one
if I
die
can.
roll.
A 3.
You can see okay. There is a little bit of moonlight kind of allowing you to glimpse inside. And you might even have like a small flashlight that you can flash in there. Were flashlights a thing in the 20s? I actually don't know. I think they were. And you don't see much, but I will tell you this. You can tell as you get closer that the flute playing is coming from in the barn and below, as if there was like a basement. What do you do?
But all the people have gone now, right?
As best you can tell, yeah. Well, except for the flute
Mm.
player.
Right. If I can, if I think I have time to do it without losing the procession, wherever that's going, I want to just have a peek in that basement, in that.
Getting inside the barn is no trouble. There's like a kind of sliding door in the front that just slides open. They didn't bother to lock it. And I might have a map here. Let me see. It may not be a super relevant map to the moment, but no, it's fine. Um, when you go inside the barn is an old gray, half ruined barn. As you go inside, you notice that the barn is largely empty except for a pile of crates in the east corner. The ground is covered with rotted straw. All the animal stalls have been removed, and you can tell that the flute playing is definitely coming from the direction of those crates. What do you do?
Okay. Gotta see I've got to see what's making the flute sound. If it's a person, well, it must be a person. What else could it possibly be? Why are they hiding in amongst the crates, though?
Make another single die roll.
5.
5. Best roll. The crates can be moved, and there is a hatch that goes down into the basement. As well, when you get behind the crates, you see in one corner on a little bench are stacked up folded robes like the ones that people were just dressed in.
Well, that's very useful.
What do you do?
I will take one of the robes,
Do you put it on?
just throw it over myself. I want to have a peek down that trapdoor, though.
As soon as you open the trapdoor, you can hear the flute playing much more. It's more present. It's not just that it's louder because you open the trapdoor. It's because it's more there. I don't know if that makes sense. But it is not just something you're hearing, it's something that is quite literally wormed its way into your mind. It's there rattling around, firing off your synapses, tickling the back of your subconscious. And I would like for you to make an insight roll.
1.
Do you go down? There's a ladder.
Yes.
That felt hesitant, but yes.
Yeah, I think Emma is very, this is scary, but at the same time, what could possibly be making this flute sound? What does it mean?
Pontius, um, I'm going to roll against you here. I will also say that everybody else is entitled to roll against Pontius as well if we really want to see Pontius lose this battle with Vilela Pereira. But in any case, Pontius, I'm going to roll mine, which is a 2. You're muted.
That's good, at least. Let's see what happens. A 2 as well.
You have to.
Push.
Oh, I need to look. I'm not sure. I always forget this rule. Let me check. I think if you tie it, you're okay. No, I have to be higher than you. So yeah, you succeed.
Okay.
So you're just trying to disarm him and get past him, or what?
Yeah. Essentially, I'm just trying to disarm him and maybe hit him in the face. It's not gonna knock him out, but daze him enough, and then try to push past with the shotgun toward the noise.
Yeah, just describe that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we see Pontius. It does not look elegant or tough at
Well,
all.
you only got a 2, so it's actually going to
Yeah.
be really, really rough. There might be some problems here, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of headbutting of Pontius in the head with Philip and everything, and it's a scramble, it's a fight over the shotgun, and I think finally just a lucky elbow from Pontius as Philip is on top of him and hands around his neck and slamming the front of his head on the wooden door. One lucky elbow, and then Philip kind of gets knocked back and hits his head on the bookshelf, like on one of the fake shelves, and just kind of crumples and looks dazed and is just like reaching for Pontius.
Because you got a 2, I'm gonna say that your momentum kind of carries you through the back, like kind of this back area that you heard the sound coming from, and you realize a little too late that there's no floor back there. It's just a big fucking hole in the back of the building. There's a little like narrow footpath, but it doesn't matter. You lose your balance and you go tumbling, and you are gonna smack your head up against the stone and be knocked unconscious.
Perfect. I think it's that's
unless you want to add a die. You can add an insight die, but
no, let's let it ride. I think that's perfect. Just Pontius eating shit.
Very good. And that's what happened. Let's pick up with Irene and Charlie, maybe a little bit further down the road at this point, if that's okay. Irene, you're at this point very far gone. So
so I don't think it's a retcon, but I'm just going to kind of add on here is that like I'm starting to say Paddock, and Paddock, and as I'm saying that, like every once in a while, I'm starting to yank out teeth.
Charlie, what are you doing right now? Apart from about to roll insight roll, what are you doing right now?
I'm horrified.
I think you need to roll an insight roll if Irene takes a pair of pliers and begins pulling out her own teeth. Please roll an insight.
Yeah. I'll also let that inform exactly how much. That's a 5. Goes back up.
You're going back up. What do you? I mean, this is horrifying. How do you react, Charlie?
I think that Charlie starts trying to stop Irene, but I don't think that it works. I think that Irene seems pretty resolute, and so like every time Charlie maybe tries to pull a hand away or something like that, like it's just right back. It's like a kid, like you're trying to pull them away from something and it's right back. And
Irene is saying, "This is to save you.
oh,
Stop trying to hurt yourself," as she is yanking out teeth.
And I think Charlie starts to believe that in a way, but is so conflicted. And I think starts just trying to put more distance between Charlie and Irene at a certain point, and is at this point like muttering to herself, like, I don't understand what's going on, and I need to get out of here. I need to get David, and we need to get out of here. And this person that I thought was going to help, and there's just like muttering.
Charlie, you can. I mean, clearly Irene's a little predisposed or is a little disposed. You can run ahead and get a little further ahead away from Irene. You find yourself pretty quickly approaching the Casa de Diaz. We'll talk about the Casa de Diaz. It's this it's this like Spanish style villa home with the with the kind of red tile roof, which incidentally you see everywhere in Lubbock because that's Texas Tech's look. You have these like Spanish tile roof. There's also weirdly like a lot of there's a lot of like surprising tree cover in the yard. There's a lot of like kind of nasty moss covered vines and trees and like kind of just dripping everywhere. The walls have stuff crawling up it, right? But the more immediate concern is you see a trio of dogs trotting out to meet you. They are Doberman Pinschers with large green human eyes are trotting toward you. And I need you to make possibly one final insight roll.
Oh, goodness. Yep.
That is it for Irene, I fear. Irene, you're also gonna about to slip over the edge. We'll come back to you in a moment.
Okay.
Oh, the poor people you all came to rescue. Well, not all of you, but Emmett Van Poole, your situation isn't any better, I fear. You crawl down this ladder and you find yourself in, it's a basement, but it's a basement where it seems like the walls have been knocked out or not completed, and it's like half masoned, half cave. It's not a huge space, but you can definitely like continue down it beyond what appear to be the boundaries of the actual barn. Do you continue down the passage?
Yeah, I think Emmett's first thought is, oh, this must be the caves that Pontius was talking about. Is there any like directionality to the sound of this flute playing? Does it?
It's coming from that direction.
Well, I've come this far. I have to see what's making the sound.
You continue down the passage, and you get to you can basically see like two little alcoves or branches. One appears to be filled with bones, just littered with bones. There are torches on the walls so you can see pretty well. The other little alcove appears to be the personal effects of someone. You will notice one thing that is definitely Dr. Godfrey's. What is it?
I think he always wore like a white, I don't know exactly the style, but like a white hat.
Like a kind of Cuban style, like
Yeah,
fedora or something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Unfortunately, standing in between those two things and you is a tall, snake-like creature. It is a large serpent that's wrapped in several coils, and it's swaying, but it also has arms and hands, and its little fingers are like kind of like caressing something invisible in the air. And its big snake-like mouth is opened wide as if it were trying to swallow a gigantic rat, but it's opened wide, and as it sways back and forth, that's where the flute music is coming from. The flute music is coming from its gullet, as if the gullet of the snake is connected to some other dimension, to some other place. Please make an insight roll.
4. I'm going up.
What's going on in your head right now?
Oh no. Get me out of here.
Do you try to
Just
run?
Run. Yeah.
Because you're wearing the robes.
Scrambling back.
Because you're wearing the robes, the thing like seems like it maybe looks at you and acknowledges you, but doesn't react.
I don't care.
You're out of there.
I don't know what this thing is.
I love it.
This is impossible.
Pontius Whitehall. You wake up to find yourself. First, you hear before your vision adjusts. You hear. But like dozens of them. And then you feel You're laying down, but there's nothing underneath you except for the occasional, or I would say the tickle of dozens of fingers holding you aloft. One of the hands occasionally reaches up and like caresses your hair. It's just like caressing your hair, and you can feel it's sort of clammy fingers stroking the back of your neck. And that's when your vision might come back into focus, and you can turn your head and look down and just see one of these green-eyed people looking up at you, almost like with affection, with fondness, like a child with a doll, as it strokes the back of your head. Please make an insight roll, Pontius. A two. Well, that's
Yes.
not bad. What are you thinking? What do you do?
I think it's that same thing of like there's that flash of like, get your fingers off me, stop touching me, and then that realization of like being touched like a doll. And then Pontius has like that get rich quick scheme look in his eyes as he's like horrified and he's groggy, but then he's like, and so he just kind of starts playing into it, like
Okay.
almost being like, yes, I'm a dolly, and everything like that of him just kind of being like, I need to like not
Not
freak out right
freak.
now. That is
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
last thing I need to do.
yeah. That's good. I love it. Charlie, you're at a six insight now, which means you are irrevocably insane. But that doesn't mean you have to stop playing. That means your character's not retired yet. What do you do when you see these weird human-eyed, green-eyed dogs trotting toward you?
I think that Charlie is kind of drawn in by them a little bit and uh, kneels down as if to like
Pet them?
welcome them and like pet them. Yeah.
You kneel down to pet them, and you don't even, and they're actually really friendly. Like they come up, and they 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 smile at you with their human teeth and their dog muzzles, and they even like lick you. And the green eyes have a hopeful sadness in them, I would say. You don't overhear someone approach, but you do eventually realize that there's someone there with you. Ah, it seems they like you.
Yeah, it does. And I'll keep petting the dogs. I'm not gonna look at this person yet.
My name is Bernardo de Diaz. Sorry, Diaz. We got rid of the duh ages ago. Perhaps you'd like to come in for a drink?
It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes, I'd love to. And we'll finally like start to stand up and look at this person.
Tell me about your friend approaching, the one with blood flowing out of her mouth.
Irene, Dr. Malari. She's a dentist
It
and
doesn't seem
she
like she's a very
sees
good one.
or
This
well,
man,
that's to be determined.
this
Yes.
man is wearing um, like evening wear, like a tuxedo, um, and a red velvet cloak, and he has like a head of silver hair, which is coiffed back, and he looks like he's about 50, 40 or 50 years old. Very Ricardo Montalban, very handsome, silver daddy, you might say. Spanish silver daddy. And he, Irene, what do you do?
I think I have pulled all of my teeth out and put them into a jar.
Jesus Christ.
So they're in the jar with the casting teeth, and it like similar to they were saying doctor before, right? And now it's saying Padak, and then you can't hear it
You have to
anymore.
rattle them though. You got to rattle them to hear the sound, right?
But
Yeah.
yeah, like I seal the jar. So
Hmm.
I've sealed that like voice that was, but yeah, like, and I'm coming up to Charlie and Bernardo, uh, and I think I'm kind of like silent and just like staring at Bernardo.
He says, "Well, it seems the two of you have had a very, very interesting introduction to our little burg. I insist, please come. You must have a drink. Greedy Gut and I haven't had visitors for ages."
Hmm. And I kind of look at Charlie for some type of like signal here because she was talking to Bernardo earlier. So are they seem best of friends all of a sudden?
Hello,
But I
what's going
kind
on,
of give like a
Charlie?
suspicious
Yeah.
glance of like, is this what we want to do?
Well, we shall
You're
kick.
on mute,
Oh,
Bran.
you're on mute, Brand, if you're talking. Sorry.
Oh, um, Charlie will exchange the suspicious look on the mention that they hadn't had visitors in ages, because theoretically David was there recently. And so it's starting to kind of like maybe even like have a moment of reality again a little bit where it's like, wait, what?
I love it. We'll pick up this in a minute. Emmett, you can run out of the barn, no trouble. You can climb the ladder, get out of the barn. The thing's not following you. When you get outside of the barn, you see that group of cowled people again. And now they're walking towards a line. They're in a line with torches now, like tiki torches. And they're walking towards the southwest.
I
What do you
thought as
do?
much.
Yeah.
I need to find Pontius or Irene or Charlie or someone. I'm running back toward town.
You will notice that along in their line, they have a young man who you've never seen, or maybe you have. I don't think you have though, and certainly not at this distance. You can't make out who it is. But they have a young man bound with ropes that they are leading somewhere. What do you do?
I need to find someone.
You're
Someone I
heading
can
back to
trust.
town. Yeah. I think as you sort of run back to town, there is a vehicle. A truck pulls up to meet you. It's the constable, Fred Garcia. He says, "What are you doing wearing that?"
I think they're going to kill someone. You have to do something.
"That's none of your business. Just get in the truck. I'll take you back to the hotel."
But I saw something under, under the barn.
"It's none of your business. Get in the truck and I'll take you back to the hotel. Just forget whatever you think you saw."
I don't think I want to get in the truck, sir. And I think I just spin and run off into the darkness. Like, hopefully, like toward the town, but like somewhere where he can't follow in a truck,
Oh, I
like
see.
an
Yeah,
alleyway or something,
yeah.
in between.
Let's see if you can escape. I'm going to roll against you.
So I just do a single light, right?
Yeah, I got a 2. Or it's, well, yeah.
I got a 3.
Okay. Um, you can escape, but I think because you got a 3, you're lost. You don't know where you're at. If you're okay with that, you can just let it
Yeah,
ride. If
yeah.
you want to end up somewhere in particular, you need to add an insight die.
Why don't we do the insight die?
Okay. So roll both again.
6.
There you go.
Light.
Though you might glimpse something horrifying. We'll come back to you in a bit. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll see what Pontius is up to when we get back. See you in 5. Pontius Whitehall. These individuals take you down into a vast cave system. They're going down tunnels which would quickly overwhelm anyone else, but to them, they know it like the backs of their pale hands. Indeed, you can't keep up with it. They go down one way and make a left. They go another way, they make a right, and then a left. They double back. They go up, they go down. They're pushing you through little tiny narrow gaps like you're riding, like you're crowd surfing. They're pushing you through. And you realized very quickly there are hundreds, possibly thousands of these. It's a warren, it's a den of these pale, naked, green-eyed men. The stench is unbearable. They just come down here and root and eat and shit and climb all over each other and grunt. And I need you to make another insight roll.
That's a 6.
You are going up to what now?
4.
4. Okay. Still not
Yeah.
entirely slipped over the edge, but certainly getting there. What do you do?
I think there's a point where like maybe Pontius is going to try to find like an offshoot tunnel and try to like tumble out of the like just kind of like helplessly roll off like a baby just dropped its toy and was too focused on something else, and so it just lays there, and then I'll try to find my chance to crawl away through the shit and the grossness.
Yeah, I'm definitely rolling against you. I don't know if anyone else is, but I am. And
Yeah, me too.
Oh, we got 2 rolls against you. I'm a 5.
I'm a 1.
What'd you get, Punches?
I got a 2.
Would you like to add an insight die?
I would like to add an insight die. Yeah.
Please do. 1 light, 1 dark. You still have not beat me. I think you can keep adding them, though. Let me check. If you include your insight die and you aren't happy with... Oh, you can only do it once. This is not trophy.
Okay.
Oh, you don't get away. You try. You stumble. And they just, like, catch you. And when they catch you, like, when they pick you up off the ground, because maybe you do land on the ground, when they pick you up, they're, like, very quickly checking your elbows and your knees to see if anything broke. They're, like, pawing at you and patting at you to make sure you're okay. And then they just scoop you back up and keep you going down there into their little
Yeah, I imagine it's a little bit like Hook when Peter is like still in his like adult like form and he's like trying to get away and they grab him and they like swing him up and then just a chorus of hands grab Pontius and pull him back. And then Pontius is like, God damn it, all right, just let them carry me to wherever the source is. But he's gonna like try to be like, Joaquin? Even though there's like hundreds of them, I'm sure Joaquin is a very common name amongst this rabble. But
they don't. It's not even clear they understand English. Like,
yeah.
So, or language for that matter. Oh boy.
Awful.
I do want to give Charlie and Irene a sort of decision point here.
Mm-hmm.
Bernardo Diaz will say to you, Charlie, Greedy God told me what you're here doing, who you're here looking for. And I assure you, young Mr. Lane, well, we had a wonderful visit. He was remarkably good company. We got along famously, I'd say. But he hasn't been here for some time. I suspect those heathens in town got their hands on him. He's probably tied to a sacrificial altar somewhere so they can call upon their pagan gods. It's all patent nonsense, of course. I am a man of science. They are all wrapped up in their witchcraft. If you're responding, Bran, we can't hear you.
I apologize. Can you repeat that?
Basically, Bernardo Diaz just said that he hasn't seen David in a while, and that probably the heathens in town got their hands on him and are getting ready to sacrifice him. So he's a man of science. He doesn't believe in their witchcraft beliefs.
Where are they then?
Oh dear, I almost never leave my villa. I couldn't say for sure. But while you're here, if you'd like to see what we were working on.
I apologize. I thank you for your hospitality, but I think I have to go.
What do you do, Irene?
Yeah, I signaled to Charlie and I guess to Bernardo as well that like I'm like I am essentially signaling Charlie, you go do that. I'm going to check this out.
I can
Bernardo,
see our
Okay.
dear doctor
take me
is
on
a
in.
woman of science. I would love to show you some of my cutting-edge experiments. It's something, the sort of work you could really sink your teeth into.
I'm not
Yes,
going to
that
jingle the
sounds like
teeth in the jar, but
that sounds like a great idea. You'll have more to talk about than I would. I know nothing about science, and I start making my way out.
I will say that one of the dogs follows you and comes with you, Charlie.
Okay.
Bernardo Diaz doesn't seem to care. But I will
Okay.
tell you this. The dog occasionally stops. Do you ever like turn back to like see why it's stopping?
Yeah, definitely.
You hear it. It's looking at you with those sad green eyes, and it's muttering something. You're not quite close enough to hear, but it's saying it over and over again. What do you do?
I think I kneel down again next to the dog, and I think more than anything, trying to figure out, yeah, just trying to like see what it's seeing and hear what it's saying.
Kill me. Please kill me. Please kill me. We'll cut over to Irene and Bernardo. You go inside the villa, and you can tell he doesn't use the main living part of the villa. Everything's like covered in cloth. It's dusty as hell. No one's really been through here. There is one really large portrait, though, of Bernardo Diaz in conquistador wear. The sort of like poofy pants and the armor and all that business. And in the portrait, he has there's a rat on his shoulder. And this rat, with its little ratty hands, seems to be whispering into his ear. That's how he was painted. Come this way, Doctor. I think you're going to like this. Tell me more about this teeth fascination.
I don't think I figured out how to talk yet is the thing.
Well, another time, perhaps.
I'm maybe yeah, like in response I just kind of like take my blouse whatever and just kind of like wipe my mouth from the blood that is obviously like dripping off and just kind of like point and acknowledge like I'm still figuring things out.
Indeed. He says, "Ah, I see. Well, I'll do all the talking then. No one's ever accused me of being a wilting flower at a party. Now," and he takes you now down to like a kind of basement area of the
Mhm,
villa.
mhm.
And where he takes you, it is indeed some sort of laboratory, or it looks like it maybe started as a kind of torture dungeon. There are
Hmm.
shackles and stuff on the walls, but it's sort of over time transitioned into being more of a lab space. There are
Mhm, mhm.
tables laid out, and cages everywhere. And you see in these cages children of various ages, starting from like babies to adolescents, and they're all like they're in mid transformation. One has a blue eye, another has a green eye, or it has one has a blue eye and a green eye in the same face.
Mhm, mhm,
One
mhm.
has hair that is turning black from blonde. Um, he says, "Well, what do you think?"
Uh, I'll do this now. I pull out the jar of teeth
Hmm.
and I want to roll the teeth and see what they say. I have an idea of what they would say, but it is free to you as well if there is something that you want to
I
reveal
mean, you're
here.
no longer beholden to die rolls, so just tell me what you
Yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
do here.
Um, so I take them and it's a mix of like whatever teeth Irene Malari, Dr. Irene Malari has collected over the years, plus her own teeth. And she rolls them and they actually speak. And they
Hmm.
say, you don't intend for me to escape, do you?
Did the teeth say that, or you say that?
That
Or the
is what the
teeth?
teeth
Oh, the
say. The
teeth
teeth are
say
saying for
for
me,
you. Got it.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Bernardo Diaz says, "Why would you ever want to?"
Um, and I gather up the teeth and put them back in the jar. I'm shaking the jar like a dice thing, and I'm looking around. And these are presumably I feel like I'm putting together these are the children that have been going missing.
Yes.
Um,
I think that's something only
oh,
you knew.
yeah, okay. So I'm rolling again, and the teeth say, so what is my role here?
We'll come back to this. Emmett, you're running. You're just fucking running. And you got lost, right, in running away?
No, because I bumped
Oh, you bumped
my
it up. Okay.
yeah.
Where were you headed?
I think yeah, trying to avoid being followed by the
Yeah,
constable.
you'll escape the constable, no trouble. Yeah.
I I guess to the I don't want to go like directly running into the hotel, but I want to head back
Just that general area.
that general area to try and find the others
That makes
in the
sense.
hope that like I know they're not there, but
Before
Emmett
you
doesn't
get
know
back
they're
to
not.
town, you do have to take kind of a circuitous route off a road into the desert to kind of get away. You come upon a little ridge, I would say. There's like a little dip, like a ditch or something. And you hear something coming from inside that ditch. You hear, what do you do?
Run.
You don't go look.
I don't go look.
You can eventually make your way back to town. It's just dead empty. There's no one anywhere. Well, that's not true. James Ruckus Whitlock is probably stumbling around.
If he is, then I know Emmett hasn't met him previously, but I think I'll just run desperately up to him and say, please, please, I'm not from here. I came to town with some friends. Have you not
Well, that was
no.
your first mistake, friend. Coming to this town.
What's going on here?
Oh, it's them goddamn Diaz's and developers.
I saw something underneath the barn.
Yeah, I bet you did. We've all seen something, friend, and we all deal with it in our own way. And he lifts up a bottle of booze.
Please, have you seen any of the other folks I arrived
You're
with?
one of your friends ended up over at the tobacco shop.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'll just run in that direction.
Indeed. The tobacco shop door is like flung open. You see, you don't know who it is, but it's Philip Valero Pereira, unconscious on the floor, shotgun tossed to the side, and you hear quite a cacophony of noise coming from the back of the store. What do you do?
Hello?
There's no immediate
Irene?
response.
Pontius? And then I think I will, very gingerly, not knowing how to use it, pick up the shotgun and
Mm.
go back there with it just kind of pointed in front of me.
You see this big hole. The whole back part of the building is just a big hole pit. There is a little footpath that spirals down it, though, if you want to go down.
I think I'll call down again. Charlie? Irene? Is someone down there?
There's still no response yet. I don't think Pontius will be able to hear you from where he's at. You do hear faint kind of like mutterings and groaning, though. There are people down there, just it's not obvious who.
I guess I'll start to go down. Still wearing the robes and now wielding a shotgun.
Indeed. Speaking of Pontius, they take you into a vast open cave chamber where there are hundreds of these people crawling around, yelping, hollering, fucking. But they're all kind of generally converging on one place, right? And that's where you're being brought to. And there's a smell that cuts in above this rank stench of so many bodies. It's a smell like sulfur. Indeed, wherever they're taking you, it's a large opening in the cave where you can see a noxious cloud of gas rising up. And you hear, Paddock, Paddock. And they're moving you toward it. I want another insight roll.
Oh boy. That's a 2. My ruin does go, or not my ruin. My my insight does go up to 5.
No. It has to go over. It has to go over your current.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you one thing though. You see Joaquin. He's dressed in street clothes. He's the only one down here who is not naked. And you can tell he's just like cowering, trying to stay unnoticed. What do you do?
I'm going to try to, because like ripped shoulder of this suit and everything, like shit covered pants. The shoes are ruined. Everything is ruined. The bowler cap is gone. Like the hair's all of a mess. I'm going to. It's like a last ditch effort. Pontius has done this before when he's been collared by people, being thrown out of businesses or being like arrested for like soliciting where he's not supposed to. I'm going to try to slip out of the coat. I'm going to try to have like just like the coat, just like
One
the
more
things
go.
carry the coat to whatever that gas vent is, and I'm going to try to like squirrel my way towards Joaquin.
I'm rolling against you again.
Yeah. Can I go ahead and add an insight die ahead of time? Uh,
You can. Yeah, yeah. I got a
okay.
6 though, so yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. All right.
You gotta
Perfect.
get.
Well,
You have to get a 6. So
2.
is that with your insight die?
Yeah.
Oh, and also your insight die is equal to or higher, and so, or let me check if your insight die is. Oh, it has to be higher, so it doesn't trigger an
Okay.
insight roll.
Okay.
But you're not going anywhere.
No. No.
They just you you're not going anywhere. Let's check back in with Charlie. Charlie, this dog is begging you to kill it. And also, Charlie, now that you've stopped, the dog is also like maybe trying to show you something. You see in the distance, in the southwest, towards the southwest, you see what is clearly, plainly a line of a row of torchlight, like torches being marched somewhere.
Hmm. Uh, I will kind of like take the dog's face in my hands and be like, no, like I can't do that. And I'm gonna look into the dog's eyes.
Mhm.
Uh, and then this may or may not get any sort of response from the dog, but Charlie takes a moment to be like, David, is that you?
Um, the dog the dog like it has like a confused look in its eyes, like these are very expressive human eyes in this
Hmm.
dog's skull, right? It it looks it, it doesn't respond at first, and then it goes, yeah, yes, 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 kill me, kill me. i
Uh,
I'm David, kill me.
we're gonna find a way to fix this. And Charlie starts pulling the dog
that's
along.
that's the best reaction ever. We're gonna find a way to fix this. So good. Are you gonna head towards where
And
the torches are going, though?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
pulling the dog with me.
I can fix him. So good, so good. Fantastic. Irene, Bernardo says, I have been waiting all these years, these long, long years, for a suitable wife. You can be my partner. You can help me give birth. And he moves his, kind of spreads his hands out towards his experiments. Give birth to another generation of Diazes and Vilela Pereiras. Perhaps with your womanly insights, I'll be able to figure out what I'm doing wrong. If not, it'll just be another batch of disappointments that go in the pit.
Um, Irina is bothered by this. I don't think she's necessarily game for it, but is also trapped in this situation. Um, I think that but okay, okay. So she feels like this is a moment where she can get into Bernardo's personal space and probably look inside of his mouth and figure out maybe some kind of sign of how she can maybe not get out of this, but change the calculus of this particular situation. So I think that she comes in like Bernardo might not be able to read 20th century social cues, so does not necessarily know that she's like disgusted by this initial thing, but then like comes in and like holds his neck and pulls closer, and then hands under his chin, and then just very abruptly like yanks down on his jaw so that she can look inside of his mouth.
I love this. I think that's it for Irene. We'll see you in epilogue, Irene. Emmett Van Poole, you find yourself down in this cave system. It's difficult to navigate. It's very twisty, but you can hear voices. You can hear clear cacophony of voices that can kind of help you generally navigate, I suppose. What do you do?
I guess head toward it and see if I can find one of the others. Whoever was supposedly in the tobacco shop must have gone down here.
I'm gonna make you roll to try to navigate there, and
Mm,
I'm rolling against you.
mm.
6.
5.
Would you like to add an insight die and try again?
Sure.
Roll them both.
4.
Was insight high? No.
No.
You get lost. And we'll see you in epilogue. Lost in the caves. Pontius Whitehall. You do not slip out. The herd takes you close enough to where Joaquin is cowering in the corner. Close enough for him to say, "I'm sorry." And then they funnel you into this space where there's this sulfurous gas rising up, and down below they are moving you towards the edge, and down below in this pit you see the most enormous titanic toad-like creature you've ever seen, and it opens its mouth as if to receive you. You're going to epilogue as well. Charlie, you and the dog make your way. You're at the obelisk. It's this enormous structure, maybe 15, 20 feet tall. It's made of that same oily black stone as the bell tower. The cultists, with their green eyes glimmering in the dark, they have David Lane. They have him. They are strapping him down to a stone slab at the base of the pillar. But you're already shattered. You're already too far gone. What do you do?
I think that Charlie sees David, lets go of the dog, and just runs directly into everything and throws herself over David.
We will see you in epilogue as well.
Yeah.
Let's take a 5-minute break. Think about your epilogue, what ultimately happens to your characters. Those of you who reach 6 insight, you are not having a happy ending, so keep that in mind. And everyone else, you can choose whether your ending is happy or not. But I'll see you in 5. Whoever would like to give their epilogue first, please do.
I'll go ahead and go. We see these hands hoisting Pontius over this hole, this vent with the sulfuric, and Pontius is trying to yell. He's trying to trying every tactic in the book, saying like something, screaming out to Joaquin, anything, and this long tongue unfoils out of this open mouth of this toad. And typically when you see like frogs and toads in media, that tongue hits the fly very quickly. But no, it's just tormentingly slow as it reaches out. Pontius starts screaming and screaming and screaming, and then this tongue latches and roils around Pontius and starts drawing him slowly to the mouth. And if you've seen the movie Maxine, when Kevin Bacon gets crushed, he's just like he's pleading and pleading, and then it just goes into prayer. He's just praying, and he's like, and he's trying the Lord's prayer. He's trying just like anything that he has heard, every kind of prayer, to the point where he's just going puddock, 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 like trying to try to convince this thing to let him go, until finally the mouth closes. The screen goes black, and then it comes back to desert. It's the day. There's a lizard going across a gravel road that gets run over by a truck that you can see Silver City Sheriff's Department on it as it stops. And we see somebody that looks like Pontius but older, much more grizzled, receding hairline. He's wearing the khakis of a county sheriff with a white cowboy hat, silver gleaming pistol. And you can see that there are other trucks around as we see Pontius sitting completely naked, sunburnt. Hair has been turned black, eyes wide. They're not as wide as like some of the other things that we've seen in the cave system, but they're wide and they're green now. They're not blue. And he's just going paddock, 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 paddock. What's wrong with the boy? Sheriff, good you're here. He was found wandering in the desert. Just stop making a scene. Let's go ahead and clean this up. Make sure there's no onlookers. Pontius, stand up. You're a Whitehall. Pontius, what are you talking? Boy, get yourself. Throws a blanket around him, leads him to the truck. We see a montage of him just like people moving around Pontius as he's just rocking and saying puttock over and over. People cleaning him being looked over by a doctor, and then finally left in his room, his childhood room in his family's home in Silver City. And then the lights go out and we can just see his eyes green in the dark. And then we focus on the sheriff in his bedroom. And he hears something. And he wakes with a startle and he looks around. And then you just see these green eyes looking at him through the shadowed dark. And he goes, Pontius, what are you doing awake? Go back to your bed. And then big green eyes open on the other side of the room, and then on the other side of the room, and then all around him. And then the sheriff of Silver City screams.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think Emmett is wandering through these caverns, and he starts to hear Pontius screaming and praying and yelling, and he starts to run. But as he does so, something tangles up with the robe and the way he's carrying the shotgun, because he doesn't know trigger safety. And there's a sudden explosion as the shotgun goes off in his hands as he's trying to run, and he stumbles and falls to the side. And when he rights himself again, there are several other robed figures looking at him, and he tries to bring the shotgun up again, and it just clicks as he pulls the trigger, and he racks the pump, clicks again, and the figures close in toward him.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I think it's we pick right back up where the scene had cut away. Irene is grabbing Bernardo's jaw and yanking it down, and he's like, "Oh yes!" And she opens his jaw wide, and the camera like cuts, like we're looking inside of his mouth, and we see one of those dead teeth, like that one that she pulled that very first time that she experienced death as a professional. And you can just see it's like black and like it's like veiny, maybe even like green veins growing out of it and like into his gums, like as if it's emanating from it. And she pulls out her tools and yanks the tooth out. And in that instant, there's this gust of soul that comes out of Bernardo right into her face, like hot air. And you see her kind of like turn back as it's hitting her right in the face, right in her own mouth. And Bernardo turns into this like white, creamy, greeny goo and just like bursts and like onto the floor. And there's a weird moment where what seems to be Irene is still recoiling and just kind of like stretches her neck, cracks her fingers, pulls out the jar of teeth, opens it up, and starts taking one by one every tooth in that jar and jamming it into her gums. And you see that she's changing with every tooth that she pokes back into her gums, and she's starting to look more and more like Bernardo did, but instead of 30 or 40 years old, looks 20 to 30 years old. And once she has all of the teeth, there are far more teeth than fit in one mouth. She smiles, and it's a shark smile. And you just hear Bernardo's voice say, "Yes, this will do."
Fantastic.
Similarly, we pick up, I think, right where the scene had left off with Charlie throwing herself on David, uh, and being pulled away by some of the cultists, and held back to watch as the ritual begins. Um, the cultists are carving runes and sigils into David's flesh, preparing him for this rite. And Charlie is sort of slowly, like panicked and slowly kind of starting to almost tire herself out in this expression of panic. Um, and the dog has made its way to like the head of this, um, was it like a stone, wherever David is laying. And one of the cultists brings Charlie forward again towards David and holds a dagger out toward her. And the cultist says, "This will save you." And David is weak and trying to say something and mouthing something, but all Charlie can hear is the dog's voice saying, "Kill me, kill me, kill me." And we see Charlie plunge the dagger into David's chest and collapse and be carried away by the cultist.
I love it. It's great. I have a little coda too. Some undetermined time in the future, not far in the future. Bright sunny day. We see a rancher walking out to a cattle pen with Juan Herrera. And they're looking at the cows. And Juan says, "Well, I'm really glad to see that your herd recovered after whatever that business was earlier this year. I guess I'll take that one right there. Um, the guests will be great. We'll have actual steaks and rump roast and anything other than flank steak. Fantastic." And they they work out their deal to have the cow butchered so that they'll have beef at the Hotel Herrera again. And that will be our story for today. That is The Secret of Castronegro. Let's go to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
It was really cool to experience us three that are in this apartment sitting and thinking about our epilogues, and then hearing Mike go, "Ooh, I got it," and then shimmy on off to the office, and then proceed to describe a very upsetting thing. It's always a great experience to have. Um, I was really rooting for Emmett there. I was hoping that maybe one of us could at least get away, but everyone finds themselves to Castronegro. So, very, very. I had a great time playing with you, Rob. I look forward to playing with you more in the future. And then, of course, Bran, big star for the. It would be very easy. Just you found David. Good job, you found David. And then you asked to kill him, and then it would have been very easy for you to be like, "I'm going to put David out of his mercy." But you said, "No, there's a way we can fix this. We'll find a way to fix." And that was just like a really
That line was so
cool.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It
We'll
was a
find a way
really
to
good
fix
decision.
this.
Yeah, and then also a very upsetting epilogue. So, and then like, God, Emmett. I do like how we all have very unique ways of us meeting our demise and everything. Bernardo, very as creepy as you would expect. Also, I love having a puttock after the ninth step. This is a very different experience with puttock than I had with playing Brindlewood Bay with Alex. And so very, very different outcomes. So big star for that. But yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, likewise. I really thought everyone's epilogues were great. Just so vivid and gross, and I loved the Charlie attempting to, or believing that she could save David, and Pontius being swallowed by the tongue of the toad, and Irene with the too many teeth. Like how were there more teeth in the jar? I love that detail that there were more teeth. Must have been more teeth in the jar than initially. Somehow that was great. Um, yeah, I had a good time. I think we got like last time we played this. I don't think we got as deep into the mysteries as we did this time. So it's really interesting for me to see like what's a little hint more of what's going on. Not that it really, that's not really the point, but still, it's fun. Yeah, it was great. First time playing with three of you, and yeah, look forward to playing again in the future.
I'm going last again and echoing a lot of stars and wishes again, but I loved everyone's epilogue. I thought they were all very creative. And yeah, how sad that we all we all died. Uh, but yeah, this has been a really fun game. Thank you, Jason, for inviting me, and also a star for the classic kill me, um, probably human turned into dog, very much giving the Edward kind of vibe. Um, so yeah, really fun stuff.
Yeah, this is great. I have run The Secret of Castronegro many times, and I always have a good time with it. It is just sometimes it's fun just to like get on the dark ride, and just see where it goes, and this is fun in that way. Cthulhu Dark, especially, kind of like Trophy, which makes sense because Cthulhu Dark was a big inspiration for Trophy. It's all about the spiral, right? It's all about like how does this what's the terrible end look like, right? And I think whenever you're kind of unburdened by the idea of I have to win or I have to survive, you can take your storytelling into some really interesting places. To that end, I really love the sort of like transformation of Irene into Bernardo. I think that was terrific. Loved the slow rollout of the tongue. That visual of the slow tongue was really magnificent. Just like that. These are just individual things I'm calling out right now. I absolutely loved the moment where I like made grunting noises and I said, "What do you do?" And Rob goes, "I keep running." That was just like the comic timing of that was so good. It's always really fun to have one character that's like clearly aware that we need to get the fuck out of here. Like this is all bad, even if everybody else is like pushing deeper, and so it's nice to have that counterbalance. And that really came out strongly in this session. That was really terrific. I love that we got to see everything. You basically saw the entire module. There's nothing you didn't get to see, so that was exciting. And yeah, I'll double the star for it was the funniest. I mean, it was so funny. Like, just we can fix this. Like, that was just so good. Like, I almost lost it. It was really great. Yeah, the epilogues were terrific, and it was just a really good time. And just thank you all for joining me on the 7th annual Halloween running of The Secret of Castronegro. Did everybody do Stars and Wishes? Mike, did you go? I can't remember. Go ahead, Mike.
I did not. Sorry. It's gonna be a lot of the same stuff, but yeah, like I think the Rob playing Emmett to like speak for all of us as human beings and that type of thing, of like actually being afraid and that type of thing was just the perfect, yeah. Yes, spot on reactions to everything. And it was just very nice with all the weirdness going around to have somebody, as Jason said, who was actually scared. And the way that you played it felt like, oh, yeah, we're supposed to be really scared here. This makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just the weirdness of it. I think it's, yeah, a very fun star to Jason for running the same thing for 7 years, because that's just a cool tradition and all of that kind of thing as well. The tongue was amazing. The We Can Fix It is amazing. I think, yeah, during the break, Wes said that it's really cool how we all met our demise, but they were all very unique demises. And then I think even the epilogues like drove that even further into these 4 separate directions. And so that's always really cool. The other thing that keeps on flickering in my brain. Oh, the dice. I just want to comment on the dice. When we started the session, I was just like, the way that this works, like, we're gonna be fine. And like, so how does this end? Like, how are we working towards the end and that type of thing? But it feels like the dice were faded or had
almost immediately. We lost 2 characters.
The dice knew what their job was and just drove that. The chances, I feel like of all of these characters meeting the demises that they did is very slim. But yeah, it's really cool how that all worked out.
Fantastic. Anything else? In that case, yeah, again, thanks so much for joining me for The Secret of Castronegro. I will be back next year. There's one person I know who I think is probably watching this, Evelyn Moreau, the artist Evelyn Moreau. They always comment on the videos of this every year. And so if you're watching this one, we hope you enjoyed it like the others. And I'm going to say goodbye to everybody at this point. Bye, everyone.